The Feminine Pulse Show is a safe and nourishing space
for women who desire to explore their power
and dance with their divine masculine and feminine energies.
We invite you on a journey to embody your feminine,
manifest deeper connections,
and be a catalyst for a harmonious, loving world.
Welcome to the Feminine Pulse Show.
Well, living in feminine energy can be challenging. We talk about all the ways that we can live in our feminine. And today we're going to narrow it down to 3 key elements that will allow the feminine to flourish. Hi, Asmaa.
Hi, Laura. Yeah, that's such an important and beautiful topic about what the feminine needs to flourish. And I think we were able to boil it down to our 3 S's, which is sacred space, sisterhood, and safety. And so going to sacred space, and why I think it's so important is that, in a way, for me personally, when I didn't know about what was the feminine, I was literally leading from my masculine energy most of my life. And that translated into a very, very busy calendar with a lot of meetings and to-do lists and things to do and things like that. And when I started tapping more into my feminine, it was oh, I need this space. I need this sacred white space when I should just be, when I choose to be and not be doing something, and space and time, creating that space for us to have the time, to reflect, to inquire, to slow down, to just be and be okay by doing nothing, be okay just being. And I think it's so key for that space to be created, because it just allows more fluidity and more flow into your day versus being very, very structured.
And when you say that, what comes to mind is when we slow down, we are slowing down time. So if you're feeling wow, time is just zooming by, check out how busy you are, right? The busier you are, the faster it goes. Sacred space is also creating sacred time for yourself. So like you said, when you take that time to just take an extra breath, sit in your car a few more minutes longer, leave a little earlier for an appointment so you can, not feel like you're rushed on the freeway and, you're just enjoying it. In fact, I have a phrase that I like to use that helps me slow down, and it's royalty never rushes.
I love it. That's royalty, a good one.
And it's a great way to remember that this moment is sacred, and I honor it as a royal person, right? This is how I share my royalty, and how do I step into my feminine, because I have more time to be with myself versus rush, gotta get things done, and then I can have some time. No, take the time right in the middle of things too. See if you can do that.
Yeah.
When we slow down, we create a moment in time. It's how we mark time. So when we make it, that's the beauty of creating sacred space, of celebrating somebody or something, or a moment like the 4th Thursday in November for United States citizens, is we mark time, we slow down, and we take a meal together, and we call that Thanksgiving, right? So it creates a sacredness if we participate in that.
That's beautiful. And it always reminds me of how Italians and Europeans found a way to have this beautiful life. And Italians have this beautiful expression that says sweetness of doing nothing. The sweetness of doing nothing. And it's just so beautiful, meaning when you allow yourself to create this white space and this sacred space for yourself, you can enjoy the sweetness of just being with yourself and just doing nothing and just sitting with it. And like you said, slowing down time and celebrating it in that space and inquiring with yourself and just being with yourself, because that's the most beautiful relationship you can have, is with yourself, Yeah. So that's beautiful. So that's the sacred space. So what about the second S, Laura?
sisterhood. So
Yeah.
having those women or trusted feminine presence as people in your life that you can let your hair down, relax into, know that if you need to get something off your chest, you have a place to do that. Also, knowing that you've been out there rushing around in the world and it's a sacred space you can come back to, knowing that if you've been a little bruised out there, you're going to get the hugs and the love and the nurturing and the reassurance and the acknowledgement that maybe you're not getting out there. So creating a community of like-minded people that you can align with and know that you can, and it could be one person, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you have a connection with, that you're not alone in the world.
Yeah. It's like really feeling that you can be yourself with this person and feeling you could be accepted no matter what you say, no matter what you do. And those are my most precious moments, when I can fully be myself. If I need to roar and if I need to scream or if I need want to cry or if I want to share something vulnerable or if I ask for a hug or ask for a touch, like those women or those people that are bringing feminine energy into my life, whether that's men or women or any, like it's just this beautiful feeling that I've been nurtured and been nourished by someone else and that I am worthy of it, that I'm like desiring it and I can ask for it and I will be receiving it through this sisterhood because that's what this sisterhood is here for.
I, I have an experience where I said to this woman, and she was in labor, and I was in the delivery room, and she sent her husband away because he wasn't being helpful. And he was feeling really insecure. He didn't know what to do. And at that moment, I realized there's something a woman can provide for another woman that a man can't. And it's not, there's nothing I can explain about it other than to tell you that I looked at her at one point and I said, what do you need to, she was very anxious. And I said, what do you need to do to let go of that anxiety? And I turned to her and I knew exactly what I needed to do to support her in this sisterhood was I grabbed a garbage can and guess what? She needed to
Yeah.
let go of whatever toxins were in her physically. And she felt so much better after that. But there was no words spoken after I asked her that question. I saw her face, I saw her body, I felt her energy. I went to the garbage can, and just in case she needed that, which, you know, I knew
You
she needed
knew.
something, and I didn't know if it was going to be physical, but it wasn't a hug, it wasn't a therapy session. It was, it was
Mm-hmm.
just she needed to physically let go of stuff. And I gave her permission in that moment to let go in any way she needed. And that's how you create that safety. And there's this knowingness, I've never had a kid before. I've never been in that situation, but I knew exactly what to do somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's like you were able to listen to your intuition in that moment too, and like fully connecting with this person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So beautiful.
And to be in that sisterhood, because that was my mission, to be there for her, in any way I needed. I was going to do some hypnobirthing with her too. But she asked me to be there. And I was like, this is a very sacred place, first of all, to be. And how many times do you get to be in the delivery room if you're not the one giving birth, right?
Totally.
So that was
Totally.
my extraordinary time to be in sisterhood with her. So you never know where it's going to show up either.
Totally. You just need to be open to it.
So third one,
Yeah.
right? Go ahead.
Yeah. And I think you touched a little bit into it, like in terms of safety. And I think that's a very key element in terms of safety, because safety is really created by masculine energy. And that safety, like the feminine, needs to feel safe in order for her, this energy, to fully flourish. And be authentic and vibrate and just be. And it is in those moments where you feel you're not accepted, you are not respected, you are not seen, you are not valued, this is not your place, you should not be here, or any elements like that, whether they are, it just brings us to like close off and not allow for our this beautiful feminine energy to just shine through us. And I've had a lot of instances of that where I wanted to be in my feminine, but the environment was not allowing me to be, or the person I was with didn't know how to create that masculine, sacred, safe space for me to express without feeling I'm going to be attacked, whatever I say, or anything like that. So it has, I'm sure, different layers. And I would love to hear your perspective on that too, Laura. That that element of like, that's why it's so important for us to have amazing, incredible people around us that are leaning towards like their own sacred masculine energy, and like really bringing like this beautiful feeling of safety by them just being there. Like there are some people you're just there with them and you can feel fully safe, like without them touching you, without anything, just by them being there. You're like, oh, there's something here where I'm just feeling I could be me, fully myself, and I can play and I can dance. I can just like be silly and I will be totally okay.
Or just melt.
Yeah, that too. I love that.
I mean, for me, when I think of a safe place, I feel like when I'm being hugged, and I can just melt into it. I'm not doing the stiff hug. I'm doing I was hugging, but now I'm being melted and relaxing in, and I can fully soften, because we don't give our bodies that time to soften and to be in a safe environment to soften. We can create that safety for ourselves alone, but it's really nice when you have a masculine energy there too, creating that safety for the feminine to relax, to open up, to soften into that slower beingness, to then play and then revel in that and express. And it's a gift. It really is a gift to go there and to be able to have that safe place. So you're so right. There are so many times when we are not going to be able to do that in our feminine. And that's why we have to do the sacred space for ourselves and have that sisterhood. And then when we can find those safe places where the masculine is really holding space for the feminine. I mean, even in the dance, a lot of times when you dance in partners with a partner, one needs to be the one providing the direction and the other needs to flow into it, but they have to have a safe relationship, right? It has to be a safe space.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's so many beautiful things that happens when we are fully in a safe environment and a safe space. And I think one of the key shift that happens for women is that I am not giving anymore, but I am in this space of receiving. I feel so safe that I can open up and I can receive.
Yes.
And just be in that and just enjoying that instead of being in the over giving and giving to others. Like, no, I can just be here. I just this sweetness. I just love like this sweetness place like to be in. And I think once we have these three elements of sacred space, sisterhood, and safety, the feminine can fully flourish. And oh boy, like how much the world can flourish too and change if women and female identified people can just like feel that energy and be in it.
So I'd
Yeah.
like to invite our listeners to explore where you flourish and where can you create sacred space. With whom do you want to be in sisterhood with? And is there a safe masculine energy you can align with or be open to receiving?
That's a beautiful inquiry. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Feminine Pulse. And you are welcome to connect with us and join our community and listen to our next episode. Until then, ciao, ciao.
Be well.
Thank you for being part of our community.
Listen to the next episode of Feminine Pulse on your favorite podcast app.
We welcome your questions and have some amazing gifts for you
at femininepulse.com.